Hi everyone, Aga here from EurekaCrystalBeads.com, and I'm here with another fun beading tutorial for you. Before I get started, just a quick reminder to check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you always know when we're posting new content. So the video that I have for you today is going to be our usual tutorial that we typically do, but it's also going to be kind of special because this week we have two tutorials coming out. The other one is also already on the channel, and they are kind of competing with one another. And the thing that is competing the most are the colors, as well as the general vibe and style of the pieces that I make in each of these tutorials. So let us know in the comments after you watch the other tutorial as well, which style, which colors you like better. So this tutorial, as you can probably notice, is all about colors. And here we have one of the combinations that I like really much, which is all sorts of rosy peachy pink and this lovely deep teal that we have here. And the pattern that we're going to be making, the design, is this ring. So I made this design first, and then I wondered what it's going to be. At first I thought it could be a pendant, and you can very easily make it into one by adding some beads around this crystal here and then adding a bail. In a very similar way you can make it into an earring, and I think that will look lovely as well. But as I was trying it out, someone that I was with just told me, you know what? This could look lovely as a ring, and I think this being a ring kind of reflects what this pattern and the style is, because it is extravagant, it's colorful, it is shiny, it is kind of a little bit extreme because this ring is kind of big, but it's also kind of comfortable, I would say. So let me first tell you a little bit about the ingredients that we're going to be using to make this. First up, we have this 12mm Rivoli. This is an ELITE Eureka Crystal Rivoli, so it's top quality and it's in this gorgeous color Flamingo Ignite. So it has a colorful back, really love it. We're also going to need some check beads, namely some 2-hole lentils. Next up, we have some Chinese faceted crystal rondelles. They are 3 by 2mm. You're also going to need some 4mm Bicones. And again, I'm going to be using ELITE Eureka Crystal. And then we have our seed beads. And we're going to need some rounds. Here I have round 11/0 and 15/0, as well as some Toho treasure beads. You can also, of course, use the Licas. That's it when it comes to the beads. You're also going to need a needle. I do recommend size 12, so the finer needle, as well as some of the finer Fireline thread. This is 4 pound, a Fireline in the color crystal. Plus, just additionally, some scissors to cut off the excess thread. Alright, let's get to beading. So I'm going to start with about half a wingspan of thread, but I'm not going to cut off the thread from the spool yet because I have a sneaky suspicion that we might need a tail to make the, well, ring of a ring. And the first step here is going to consist of these 11/0 and these rondelles. So I'm picking up 2 11/0, 1 rondelle times 6. And I'm going to slide it down my thread. And actually, this is where I'll tie a knot. I love works and designs where you can just tie a knot in the beginning, where you start with a circle and then you can tie a knot and you don't have to worry about stopper beads and such. So I'm just tying a knot. That was the first one, now the second one. I'm going to do a third one as well. And I'm just using my needle thread to go through the loop that I'm making by crossing my threads. I'm going to go through some of the beads to hide that knot. Okay, and you want to be coming out of one of the faceted rondelles now, and we'll be picking up a 15/0, a lentil bead, and a 15/0, and we're just going to go right through this next rondelle here. And then after I have that in, I'm going to pick up 3 treasures or delicas, and I'm going to go around this faceted rondelle. This is going to be like the first basis for our back that is going to encase the crystal inside. So first you add the lentil bead in between the rondelles, and then you add 3 treasure or delica beads around the rondelle, and you do that 6 times. Alright, these are the last 3 Toho treasures that I'm adding. And now we're going to go to the back of our work to create the netted back of the crystal, the back that is going to encase and protect the crystal from the back. So as you can see, I'm stepping down through 2 of the treasures in this sequence here. I want to be coming out of the middle one. And now I'm going to be adding 11-Os. I'll add 3 11-Os between each of the middle Toho treasures. So I'm picking up 3 11-Os, and I'm just going to the next Toho treasure here. Another 3, and through the middle Toho treasure, and again 6 more times. And by 6 more, I mean 6 in total, of course, because we have 6 segments around in this pattern. Okay, so I'm adding my last 3 beads and going through the middle Toho treasure and through the first 2 of the 3 11-Os in the first sequence. And now we're going to be connecting the middle 11-Os here with a single new 11-O. So I'm picking up a single 11-O and I'm looking for the middle 11-O in the next section. And at this point, you don't want to pull too tight. I'm just going to pull now, but then I'm not going to pull very tight as I go around, because in a second we're going to be putting our Rivoli inside. I'm going to be adding the last 11-O in this row. Now's the time to add the Rivoli in the middle. Make sure you're putting it in the right way. We want the back to be facing us right now. You can help it by lifting the beads with your needle a little bit. Right, you can easily see that it's positioned right because the pointy back is going to be facing the exact center of this circle that is now made. And this is the front. As you can see, the faceted rondelles have created this lovely hexagonal shape here. I'm going to pull tight and go through all of these beads in this last row. So the single beads that I added plus the central beads in the 3s. Once more, just to strengthen the structure and make it a little bit more stiff. And now I want to tighten it up a little bit more and add some more in the middle here. So I'll connect these single beads in the middle and lift them up a little bit, connect them with 15-Os. So I'm picking up a single 15-O and passing through the next single beads that I added in the previous row. And continue repeating this all around. And now I'm going to add a 15-O in between every second of those 15-Os. So I'm just going through this next one and the one after it, kind of connecting them, adding a 15-O in between this pair, but going right through the next 15-O here and adding one more, but going straight through 2 of the next 15-Os. Tying it all tightly together. And now I'm just going to connect the 3 15-Os that I have in the middle. To cover the entire back of our crystal Rivoli here. I'm gonna go through the 3 once more, just to reinforce it a little bit. And now, depending on your thread tension, it may come out perfect or you might have like too much space in between the 15-0 and the two 11-0s in this row here. So if there's too much space and the 15-0 is kind of barely holding on, you can see thread on both sides of the 15-0, simply add an 11-0 instead of each 15-0 or every second 15-0. Because it all depends on the tension of the thread and how you hold your beadwork, so don't worry if it looks like it's very tense and there's a lot of thread. Just use a larger bead or every second bead. Alright, now it's time to get back and finish the rest of the design. So we have our bezel, and I'm going to step down through all of these beads in the back. So I'm going through one of the 15-0s, then through the 11-0s, because I want to get all the way to that faceted rondelle again. And I want to go through it. And there I'm in the position to add the next row of beads. And this next row of beads is going to be one 15-0, one 11-0, one 15-0. And I'll add them the exact same way that I added the treasures before, by going around that rondelle here and creating this sort of a thing. I'm gonna go through two 11-0s in here, and then through the rondelle again. It might be easier if you just go separately through the 11-0s and the rondelle, because the needle is going to kind of poke the lentil beads, so it's not going to be that easy to go through that. But you should be able to eventually to add another sequence of 15-0, 11-0, 15-0, and around that rondelle you go. Through the two 11-0s, the rondelle here, and again you continue all the way around. One thing that actually just occurred to me, instead of going in the middle through the two 11-0s, you can just as well go in the back and go through the 15-0, lentil 15-0, that are also connecting the rondelle beads, and it's much more convenient to do actually. And now we have this lovely, lovely little flower. To start the next row, I'm going to go up the sequence that I just added through the 15-0 and the 11-0. In this way, changing the direction which I will be going, because now I will be going this way. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pick up a single Toho treasure, then a lentil, and I'm going to go through the second, so the free hole of the lentil that I already have in my design. I'm going to pick up another lentil on the other side and a Toho treasure, and I'm going to go through this 11-0 in the next free sequence here, just like that. Another Toho treasure and a lentil, and through the free hole of the next single lentil, and you do that all the way around, making the sequences of 3 lentils and connecting them with Toho treasures to the 11-0s in the 3s that we just added before. And that's my last 2 new beads in this row. So I'll be coming out of this 11-0 in the middle here, and now we're going to go through the first sequence with the Toho treasure and 3 lentil beads, and then another Toho treasure. And once you're coming out of this Toho treasure here, you're gonna pick up a single 11-0, add it on in between the Toho treasures and on top of the 11-0 right here, just like that. And I'm gonna go through the 3 lentil beads again. So basically we're strengthening the row that we just made, plus adding 1 new 11-0 in the middle between the Toho treasures. And again you make a circle, all around your design. Alright, I finished this row and I'm coming out of that first 11-0, the first new 11-0 that I just added. And now a very pretty part, and an easy one too, because we're going to be adding 15-0s and lovely sparkly Bicones. So first up, I'll pick up 3 15-0s and I'll simply go through the free hole of the next lentil bead. Now the bicone, and I'll just connect the holes of the top lentil beads like this with the bicone. 3 new 15-0s, going through the 11-0 from the previous row. And there, look how pretty. And I do it all around. Alright, my last 3 beads here. And I could just tie a knot and finish it right here. But since I do have just enough thread left on my needle, I'm gonna go through all of these beads in this last row again, just to reinforce it a little bit and make it a little bit more stiff. Alright, that's enough. I'll just tie a knot over here, trim this thread, cut off the tail. Maybe I'll cut off at less than half a wingspan to make the ring for the actual ring. If you wanted to make this into a pendant, as I said, you can add some beads in here and add a bail, or you can go ahead and just add beads on this side and on this side on some sort of cord, and you'll have yourself a necklace. But I'm just going to finish this thread and come back to you to make the actual ring. Alright, I have my tail thread trimmed and on my needle. I also replenished the 11-0s because these are the beads that we're going to use to make the ring. And now I need to find myself on the back, so I'm gonna go through the next bead, the next Chinese rondelle, and I'm gonna go through the back. And if you happen to be coming out of one of the 11-0s, you just want to go several beads forward to find yourself in the situation when you can go back coming out of the rondelle. I'm going to go through the treasure beads in here, and since my needle went through it, also through the 11-0 in the next row, then in the next 11-0, until I reach the last row of 11-0s in here. So just before the 15-0s, and that's where I'll add the ring. I'll start by picking up a 15-0, 2 11-0s, and a 15-0, and I'll go right around this 11-0 that I'm coming out of, just like this, so that this is what I have. I'm going to go through all of these beads again. So the 15-0, the 2 11-0s, the 1 more 15-0, and then through the 11-0 in the back of my design as well, just to make the connection a little bit stronger. And then I'm going to step up through the 15-0 and 1 of the 11-0s. And now we're just going to be adding beads using herringbone stitch. So you pick two of the 11-0s in this case, you go back through the 11-0 on the other side, you make sure that they arrange themselves like this, and you go back through the second 11-0 in this pair. You add 2 more 11-0s, go down the other bead in the pair, and up through 2 beads on the other side. And this is how you go on until you've reached the desired size of your ring. Alright, that's the size I want. And I'm going to connect it to the 11-0 that's just opposite the 11-0 that we connected our first 2 beads to. So I'll just pick up a 15-0, go through that 11-0 bead here, pick up another 15-0, and go through the second of the beads. I'm going to go down the 11-0 and the 15-0 and go through the 11-0 in the bezel, pull tight, and I'm going to do that again. I'm actually going to go up the 15-0 and the 11-0 again and tie a knot over here because it's going to be more convenient to hide my tail thread in the beads in the band rather than in the bezel. And that's it, the ring is done. Doesn't it look extravagant and shiny and colorful, all of that? If you notice, the band in this one that I just made is much more elegant and much more regular than this one, and this is just because I was lazy in here and I was adding 4 beads instead of 2 per each new row, and also I was using dark thread, so this is the difference. Don't forget to check out the second tutorial in this week's competing pair and let us know which project you like better, which vibe speaks to you more. Is it the shiny, colorful, over-the-top project with these vibrant colors? Or is it the more classy, muted, matte, and elegant version in the other tutorial? Let us know in the comments. All of the materials that you have seen here today can be found at EurekaCrystalBeads.com, and you will find a full list under the first link in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!